Did you know that the British Empire at its height controlled over 13 million square miles and more than 400 million people? A significant part of this empire was India. The British rule in India, which lasted for nearly 200 years, was a period of profound change and lasting impacts. The British rule in India began not with a military invasion, but with a commercial enterprise, the East India Company, in the early 17th century. The company initially focused on trade, particularly in spices and textiles. Over time, however, it began to exert political influence, using its vast wealth to manipulate local leaders and gradually gain control over vast territories. This transition from commerce to governance was gradual, yet profound. By the mid-19th century, the British government had taken direct control over India, marking the beginning of the British Raj. India was once known as the Golden Bird, but by the time the British left, it was one of the poorest countries in the world. The British exploited India economically through high taxes, forcing farmers to cultivate cash crops instead of food, leading to widespread hunger. They also systematically deindustrialized India, causing economic devastation. Skilled artisans lost their livelihoods, and India's once thriving textile industry was left in ruins. The British rule left an indelible mark on India's economy, transforming it from a prosperous nation to a struggling one. The British rule not only shaped India's economy, but also its culture, education, and social fabric. The introduction of English education, for example, radically changed India's intellectual landscape. This cultural shift, however, was not without resistance. There were numerous movements and revolts against the British rule. From the Great Revolt of 1857 to the non-violent resistance led by Mahatma Gandhi, Indians stood firm against oppression. Despite the harsh rule and exploitation, the spirit of resistance among Indians never died. The winds of change began to blow in the early 20th century, leading to the end of British rule in India in 1947. Nationalistic movements swelled, and the devastation of World War II weakened Britain's hold. The British rule ended, but its impacts continue to be felt in India even today. In the span of 200 years, India was transformed under the British rule. From the dawn of their governance, the economic exploitation began, bleeding the nation of its wealth. The cultural impact was profound, as resistance grew amidst the imposition of foreign values. However, the end of British rule also marked a new beginning for an independent India. The British rule in India was a period of drastic change, leaving a legacy that continues to shape the country in myriad ways.